Take all the kids out of here right now. It's gonna get badass in here.
Things could get really R-rated really quickly, huh?
Really fast.
Really fast.
So fucking fast. Anyway.
Pretty much. Well, the microphones are there, guys, so line up and ask questions. But before we begin, I have a question. So I was roaming around on the con floor, and there's a vendor that is selling... A vendor that's selling old movie catalogs, like they used to sell when a movie would come out, like little programs. And I found this one, Quest for Fire. And you know, like right here on page 3, there's a profile of a young and upcoming actor. Do you remember this magazine? Do you have one of these?
Namir Al-Qadi?
Oh yeah, he was Namir Al-Qadi. No, this guy. Did you get one of these catalogs?
I got one. I have one. It's in a shrine next to all the reminders of the legendary career that is mine.
Well, you now have another one if you would like it. But I'm curious: is the bio still appropriate? Is that still an accurate bio? The bio of a young Ron Pearlman.
Amongst yourselves. There's bullshit. There's also bullshit.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. And you too can get a Quest for Fire program out there on the con floor. All right.
Back then I didn't have anything to say about myself because it was my first movie, so I made shit up. I said I was in the Vikings, with Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis. I was in that movie. Anyway, all right. That's what you do to make a living in New York.
You have to start by lying. Yeah. And then you never stop.
When you become really good at lying, you're a working actor.
People pay you to lie. Yes, sir. Hi.
My name is Jerome. I'm a big fan of Hellboy, Hellboy 2, and Sons of Anarchy. Great work. One of my friends is at home. He's a big fan too. I was wondering if I could get a video of you saying, "Fuck you, Drew."
So,
is the camera up? Fuck you, Drew. Questions gonna go like this, we're not gonna be here very long.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Will there be a Hellboy 3 with you?
Well, we better hurry up because I'm pushing 70, I'm the oldest superhero known to man. I was 59 or something like that when we made Hellboy 2. They better hurry. Easy motherfucker. They better hurry up. I've said this before, but it bears repeating because I don't think I've ever said it in Richmond. By the way, what a great town. I shot a movie here. Really cool town. I was out last night drinking for free mostly because everybody in this town is so generous. Either that or they were determined to see what I looked like lying on my face. And it worked. But anyway, where was I? Hellboy 3, I say it at all these conventions, and every time anybody asks me, but Hellboy 2 was really hard, and we all walked away going, never again. And with the passage of time and how you forget, the little annoyances, I just came to realize we really owe it to our fans who came to see the first 2 films and got caught up in the dilemma of this entity that's brought to Earth as an instrument of its destruction, but is nurtured to use his powers for good. Did somebody eat a dog? I saw a sign of dogs, with mustard and everything like that, but I assumed they were dead. Anyway, what the hell? Let's make Hellboy 3, you know? That's all.
So there you have it. It's greenlit on stage right here. We're making Hellboy 3. Actually, based on that, I reached out to Doug Jones for some background information, some questions to ask you. Yes, Doug Jones. We can applaud Doug Jones.
Doug Jones is the nicest human being ever born to man or woman, for that matter. And I hate him. Because when you stand next to Doug, you can only look bad. Because he's so good. He's like, come on, Doug. Say a curse word. I know you can. What do I gotta do to piss you off? Anyway.
He actually said an AD on Hellboy 2, tried to pull you guys back on set early after lunch. And he said he would be right out there. And you said, Doug, stop being so nice, you're making me look bad.
You make me look bad every day.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mr. Pearlman, do you enjoy your voiceover career more than in front of the film career? Yep.
Question is voiceover versus live action acting.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I really like working. I really like acting. I really like whatever form it takes. Voiceover acting is a little easier because the amount of time that you invest in it is like instantaneous. You show up in the booth, and an hour later you walk away and you've given your whole performance. When you're working on a TV series or a movie or stuff, it's months and months and months before you have the same result. So they're different exercises, but I just love acting. I just love solving the riddle of who a character is on the page and how to make him, a living, breathing entity. And whatever form it takes, I really dig voiceover acting because it's zany and it's wacky. And it's like, you're going for the gusto, like, without a lot of drum rolls, you're just going right for it. So it's cool.
Cool. Let's take a question over here.
I loved you as the woodcutter in Bunraku. I love that. You worked with such a crazy cast on such like an artistic film. What was your favorite part of that?
What you just described, great cast, really. Demi Moore playing kind of my love interest. You'll only see that happen in the movies. Josh Hartnett, I think, was probably as good or better than he's ever been. Woody Harrelson, a guy named Kevin McKidd, Gat from Japan. Everybody realized that the director was aiming for something that was rather unique and rather trippy, really, really clever, like setting a story a few hundred years in the future, and it's post-conventional weaponry. There are no more guns, there are no more bombs, there are no more instruments of mass destruction, and people are now killing each other with canes and tennis rackets and garden hoses because, that just is constant shit. That's just like, the tribal nature is the tribal nature, and, people are going to want to screw up other people. So we all kind of glommed onto what the director was trying to do. He assembled a really great company of actors, I thought. And we attempted something. Whether we achieved it or not, it's not for me to say.
Can you just say the opening to Fallout 3, maybe?
War? War never changes. No, I can't. I'm not allowed to say that in public. It's licensed by the people who brought you Fallout 3.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pearlman,
Hey.
I love you in The Last Supper, and I wanted to ask, given your extensive career, have you ever thought about writing your memoirs?
It's funny you should ask.
Did you plant this guy?
You do know I have a memoir coming out in like 1 week, very timely. I wrote a memoir and it's actually been shipped as of like 3 days ago. So it's on its way to the shelves. It'll be officially dropped in bookstores all over the United States and Canada on September 30th. And it's called Easy Street, parentheses, the hard way. And it's written by yours truly, about yours truly, and I sure hope you find something that you like.
I know we'll find
It's good.
Are you going to record the audiobook for it?
The audiobook has been recorded, and the audiobook has already been shipped, and it's people have actually heard it. So if you ordered the audiobook, you're going to get that before the book really surfaces.
Hi there.
Mr. Ron, I'm a big fan of Hellboy, and I'm sure we've all seen the video of you fulfilling the wish for Make-A-Wish as Hellboy. I was just wondering if you could maybe go over what that experience was like, fulfilling that boy's wish to be hang out with Hellboy for a day.
It's one of the greatest things you can be asked, is to make somebody who's having a tough time, but a little bit smooth the way for them a little bit. It's the best perk of having a career that's kind of public. The kid had leukemia, apparently spent most of his, hundreds of hours of chemotherapy watching the Hellboy movies and wanted to be Hellboy. And so I said, yeah, we can arrange that. And the guy who gave me the phone call said, I think you're misunderstanding me. He doesn't want to meet Ron. I went, oh yeah, that's a little different. It's like 25 guys that gotta get me ready to be Hellboy. So everybody said, yeah, let's do this. And the family comes down, and this kid is taken on a tour of Mike Elizalde's Creature Shop, showing a 10-minute film of all the creatures Mike made in movies that you've seen hundreds of times. And when the kid walks out, there was Hellboy sitting there. And it was a very private day. There was no press there. Nobody was invited except the kid, the family, and a couple of representatives from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. But the guys who worked at Mike Elizalde's shop, took some photographs of the day, and I was posing with the kid, who, like both being superheroes. And they ended up on Facebook, and like within a week, it was on 9,000 sites around the world. It was like completely unplanned. So there wasn't anything that one does to be thanked. It was just something to do.
I just had a question about, do you ever keep props from any of the movies or anything like that?
I'm not much of a collector. I do have a few little things, odd things from different movies that I really, really wanted, that meant a lot to me. In Quest for Fire, what's that one?
This one.
The guy who was doing everybody's hair, he thought I was a little kooky, and so he said, let's do something that makes you a little kinky than the rest of the guy. So he put these two sticks back in my hair like a samurai warrior, but it was 80,000 years ago. I kept those sticks. Then Name of the Rose, I had these silver teeth. And there's, not Name of the Rose, Enemy at the Gates, I had these silver teeth. And there's a scene about, how I lost my teeth in a Nazi prison camp. Kept those. And I have Clay Morrow's dog tags. into the face of Linda Hamilton.
We probably don't have time to recite opening lines because we want to get through as many questions as possible. So I'm going to say
The
no.
opening lines of what? I don't remember that shit. Beauty and the Beast was my very, very first invitation to something mainstream. I mean, Quest of Fire was definitely going to be a one-off. You know, you're not going to see a lot of commercialized versions of 80,000 years ago. Same with everything else I had done. But Beauty and the Beast was primetime CBS, 8 o'clock at night, you know, going into 50 million homes. And it was a game changer in that regard. I mean, it was like finally being invited into the mainstream of the, you know, whole showbiz zeitgeist. So it was a tremendous moment of excitement in my life, in my career. And then all of the stuff it engendered, it was received way better than we ever could have imagined. The New York Times was writing love letters to it, and it stayed on the air for almost 3 years. We were winning, I won a Golden Globe, we were winning awards, we were making top 10 lists. So, but really it was looking into the face of Linda Hamilton. Because man, she was hot. She's still hot.
Hi.
I'm a really big fan of Pacific Rim. It just seems like a really fun movie to film, but I was just wondering if you had anything you wanted to share about filming that movie and what it was like with Charlie Day and Guillermo del Toro.
Well, Guillermo, you know, and I, by the time we do Pacific Rim, it's like our 5th movie together. And, you know, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. Like, you know, he starts a sentence, I finish it. So we kind of know each other so well. So he knew what buttons to push with me, and he really understood what he wanted Hannibal Chow to look like. He was the guy that named the character Hannibal Chow, and came up with the fact that, you know, you know, in a normal movie you would hire an Asian actor to play him, but in Guillermo's version you hire a Jew from Brooklyn, you know, which makes him more full of shit than if you actually hire a real Asian guy. And so the whole thing was based on this, like, you know, like this P.T. Barnum kind of like, you know, snake oil salesman kind of mentality, and it was so much fun to play. And then Charlie Day was like, if you're doing something comedic and you're doing it opposite Charlie Day, you better bring your A game because otherwise you're going to be decimated. And Charlie kept reminding me, I better step on him here. I better figure out ways to try to upstage him. And if so, it was a question of like, who could be cheaper, you know, draw more attention to themselves. Great experience working with Charlie Day. Truly a force in comedy, and everything good that's happening to him is incredibly well deserved.
All right, thank you. This may be our final question, so I have faith it's going to be a good one.
Well, you're all invited back to my hotel room. We can continue this shit. There's a Domino's in the neighborhood. We eat a little pizza and a couple 6-packs.
BYOB, yeah.
I'll bring the liquor.
Attaboy.
Hi, I would have to say that City of Lost Children is probably my It's probably one of the most bizarre out there. What is it, or I guess how was the experience working and doing a French film?
That was, you know, the reason why I had to write a memoir is because I have one of these careers that's kind of like, you know, I keep having these mind-blowing things happen to me, randomly, that don't really make any sense, and I don't know why this amazing stuff comes my way. But City of Lost Children was the trickiest of all, because these guys had just come off this movie called Delicatessen, and they were the most revered, sought-after filmmakers on the planet. And their follow-up film was going to be the biggest film that they ever wanted to make, which was City of Lost Children. They finally had enough leverage and goodwill that they got the budget to make it. And they looked all over the world for the guy that was going to play this character, and they ended up with me. To this day, I think they made a mistake. I don't know. Like, oh, it can't. This is too good to be true. This can't be me. But the whole thing was like a pinch me moment. Like I'm gonna wake up from this one day and I'm gonna find out that Kevin Spacey is playing the character or something. But it was I never worked on a movie quite like that one before. The environment on the set was very different than anything I'd ever done. It was almost like going to church every day. So even though it was a very wacky, very comedic premise, these guys worked like monks, very quiet, very intense. And there was this feeling that you were involved in something cataclysmic. If you read the memoir, which I don't care if you guys buy books or not. Please buy books. But it talks about my takeaway from that whole experience, which I'd rather save for that. But as an experience, it was top draw, man. It was just like I was breathing rarefied air, and my feet didn't touch the ground for the whole year we worked on it.
All right. If you want to see more of this guy, right now you can go on Amazon and watch the pilot for Hand of God. And if you want to see him in a continuing series, you got to go watch it, download it a lot, tell your friends about it, because Amazon pays attention to these things. And also, he will be in the upcoming Book of Life, produced by Guillermo del Toro. So, Richmond, please show your love for Mr. Ron Pearlman.